For those of you who don't know, I'm currently on parental leave 50%, and I only work 2 days one week and then 3 days the other week. And I gotta say, it's a lot tougher than I thought it would be. One of Alex's absolute favorite things is to sit in his grandpa's tractor. What do you think about Dad's office? I think you think it's good. Hey. In camera. Oh. What do you think is the best feature of the Sony A7S III, Alex? Daddy's logo. Okay, that is the best feature. Hey Google, can you turn off the lights? Oh.
Okay, turning off 18 lights.
Thank you. I can't believe how fast time flies when you have a kid, because it literally felt like yesterday that I was having early mornings, sitting with Alex and the babysitter, just trying to survive. And now all of a sudden he can walk, he almost talks, and he's almost turning 1.5 years old. So time flies. And I think that most of you that has a kid kind of knows the feeling that I'm talking about, because everything goes so fast. So I've used the A7S III now for a couple of days in my actual workflow, and so far I do enjoy the camera a whole lot, because like framing the shots is super simple with a flip out display. But when you're shooting in 4K 120, my computer is so slow, and it definitely takes a toll on the computer when you're trying to edit it. But I also asked you on my Instagram if you had any questions on the A7S III, and I thought I'd check some of your questions and try to answer them as best as I can. Is it worth saving up to the A7S III for an upgrade coming from the A7 II? I would say a big, huge yes, because the A7 II is kind of a dated camera nowadays, and the A7S III is just miles ahead of that. If you really want to get a good video camera, then I would say yes. Does the flip screen make a huge difference in terms of getting the perfect shot? I would say yes, especially when you're doing these kind of videos, because then I can frame myself, see how it looks, I can adjust the exposure and that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like shooting handheld video, I would say that the flip up screen was a little bit better, because then you can get a better grip on the camera. But when we were shooting the Campari video, I didn't feel that big of a difference of how the flip screen was getting in the way of me shooting. So yeah, I do think it's a better option to have the flip screen on the A7S III than the flip up screen on the A7 III. How well does the autofocus track a person or subject? I would say that it works flawlessly. The eye autofocus on this thing is insane, and when you usually like track the subject, then you can just move the camera around and it's gonna like stay tack sharp on that particular subject. So it works really well. Can I edit 4K video without proxies on an i5 processor? I am going to say that I don't think that this is possible. I don't know, because I don't have a computer with an i5 processor, but my computer is like the latest spec'd out MacBook Pro, and I'm having kind of big issues editing the 4K 120 coming out of this camera. So you're gonna have a hard time. Is it worth buying the A7S III over the A7 III? What are the pros and cons of each other? Okay, so this is probably the question that I've been getting the most on Instagram right now, and I would say that the biggest pro of this camera is that this is a filmmaking beast. Like, it's a really, really good camera, but you also have to consider all the other things that you'll have to buy to be able to use this camera. I mean, some of those things are the memory cards, the hard drives, your computer, and the processing power that is needed to actually use the footage that is coming out of this camera. But the good part about that is that you can decide what kind of quality that you want to shoot with the A7S III, and that is something that you couldn't do on the A7 III. But the amount of money that you have to invest into this camera is also something that you have to take into consideration when you're buying the camera, because it's not going to be cheap, and the new memory cards are costing around $350 each if you want to have 128 gigabytes. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of things that you need to invest apart from just getting the camera. But I would say that the biggest pro is definitely the flip out screen, and that you have the ability to go really, really high on the ISO, and you can shoot some really good shots in low light, but also 4K 120 just looks so good. I'm nervous about the quality of the pictures of 12 megapixels. What are those like? I would say that they look really good, but what you have to take into consideration is that you must frame your shot a little bit better than you did with the A7 III, because you can't crop in when you jump into post. Is the A7S III worth the money? This is going to be a hard question to answer, but I would say both yes and no. It's going to be worth the money if you're working with video and this is your main income and you want to have the best possible image quality from a camera that is this size, and you don't feel like you want to upgrade in the near possible future. Because if you buy this camera, I think that you're all set for 5 years from now on with most of the things that you're gonna need from a camera like this. But then again, it's almost twice the price of the Sony A7 III, so that is gonna be like a huge investment that you have to do. So if I were just starting out today, I would not go and buy the A7S III. In that case, I'd probably go for the A7 III instead. But if you want to have the best possible video quality in your videos and make sure that you're actually safe for the future, then yes, right now I would say that it probably gives you some of the best image quality that you can buy for this amount of money. And that is actually going to conclude this Q&A. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this, because it's a little bit of a different kind of setting than my YouTube studio. But then again, I'm trying to spend more time with Alex and more time as a parent than I did during 2019. And it's going to be like these kind of videos every now and then, I think, because I still want to make videos, I still want to make vlogs, but yeah, you know how it is, you know, life comes in the way, and I guess we all have those kind of like regular things that we got to do. But either way, thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate that you wanted to hang out with me for a while. And if you haven't subscribed, that'd be highly appreciated as well. So Peter from Sweden saying goodbye.